anyway, so 10 reasons testers fail exams and how to pass with confidence. Okay. The first question that I want to ask is, who in here has taken a standardized exam and failed? Who has taken a standardized exam and failed? Let me know. Put it in the comments. If you've taken the standardized, I'm just joining. Thank you, Brazil. Okay, and King said he's locked in. Yes, y'all. Y'all forgive me. Thank y'all for being understanding. But who has taken a standardized exam and failed? I want to know. Now, I can't see the comments on this phone while I'm looking at the other phone because I just can't look at two phones at the same time. Okay? But, anywho, if you've taken a standardized test and you failed, I want you to know that there is a way to pass, okay? And we're going to talk about that tonight. But we also have to talk about why you're failing. We have to talk about what strategy that you're using that's causing you to fail, right? We need to discuss that because we want to make sure that we eliminate those reasons and those mistakes, okay? Now, what I said on the live before you all got on here was that there are different types of standardized exams. So when I say reasons you're failing exams, I'm not just talking about classroom tests. I'm talking about certification exams, licensing exams. Who in here is trying to pass an exam to elevate your career? Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you're trying to take a certification or a licensing exam so that you can level up your career. Me, okay. Thank you, Brazil, for telling me. Brazil sharing. Okay. Pooh. Okay. IMTR. Thank you. Okay. So y'all trying to level up. That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to level up too. Okay. King, he's trying to level up his career. Thank y'all. Okay. The thing with standardized tests is that they can be very overwhelming. How do I know? Because I took a standardized exam. I'm a certified teacher. Let me introduce myself because a lot of y'all don't know me. Oh my God. All right. My name is Veronica. I am a certified teacher in the state of Texas as well as in Washington, D.C. I failed the social studies part of my teacher certification exam 2 times. I passed on the 3rd time once I changed up my strategy. Currently, I am a full-time educator, and I launched Help Me Pass in 2023 to help students who need help. I know you all don't have all night, so I want to jump into this content now. But I just wanted to read the room and find out and get a temperature check who is trying to take a certification exam. Is there anyone in here that's in college? Like maybe you're just trying to pass a basic exam that is not related to your career? If you are, put a 2 in the chat. If not, we're going to move on, okay? And that's cool if you are. I want to jump into this because like I said, I was just talking. I was on here teaching y'all with nobody on here, okay? So, first of all, this e-guide, got to go back. You need to download this if you haven't. I don't want you to leave the live, but this e-guide is free on helpmepass.org, okay? And we're going to go through it tonight step by step, but I'm going to give you more gems on this live that are not in that e-guide. But it's free on helpmepass.org. You should have downloaded it if you haven't. If you haven't, you can download it later or download it on your laptop, but I don't want you to leave the live, okay? But that's why I'm sharing my screen so you all can see it. So first thing I want to say is, let's be honest, okay? Taking exams, especially as an adult, can be stressful. Whether you're working toward a new certification, advancing your career, or simply meeting a requirement for personal growth. Professional certification and licensing exams are not like traditional school tests. They're higher stakes. They cover complex content, right? And often need to be balanced with work, family, and other responsibilities. Anybody in here who has a family? Not me yet. Not yet, right? I don't have a family yet, but I want a family. But if you are trying to study for an exam and you have a family, it's a lot. Put a 3 in the chat if you are a mommy or a daddy, or if you're a husband or a wife or a significant other. You have a family, period. Put a 3 in the chat if you have a family and you're trying to prepare for an exam. But I want to continue. Additionally, most adult learners face unique challenges from busy schedules, to testing anxiety, but most failures boil down to common avoidable mistakes, right? Common avoidable mistakes. And this guide reveals 10 of the biggest reasons adult learners fail exams, and more importantly, how you can avoid them so you can feel confident and prepared on test day. The last thing that I want for you all to do is to be going into exams feeling nervous, right? The only exam I like really felt nervous for, like I was a little nervous for all of them because it's an exam, but the one that I had already failed twice, which was that social studies part, right? But all the other exams I felt pretty good about. And that's how I want you to feel when you get ready to go in your exam. So let me jump into it. Let me get in my bag, y'all. All right. If y'all ready for me to drop these gems, put 100 in the chat because I'm about to drop some gems. Because I'm going to go into more detail than what you see on the e-guide. Drop. I don't see no gems or drop 100. That's what I see, not a gem. Drop 100 if y'all ready for me to drop some gems, or put a gem in the chat, whatever you want. But just let me know that y'all with me. Y'all with me? Let me check over here. Y'all with me? Okay, they with me over here. Okay, they with me. All right. All right, King is with me. Okay, let me continue. Because King said he trying to get he trying to level up. Okay, I see you, Brazil Sharon. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit because I want to focus on number one first. Okay, number one. All right. Cramming instead of consistently studying. Now, I know you all have heard this before, but I'm gonna have to say it again and I'm gonna have to reiterate it. Cramming, just like reading, is not studying. When you cram, which means you study at the last minute, it leads to poor retention and burnout. You don't retain the information when you cram, right? And you get burnt out because you're trying something that you don't even know if it really works because it doesn't work. But the fix to that is create a structured study schedule 6 to 12 weeks in advance, right? Now, I know some of these are going to sound generic, but this is why I highlighted this. Because a lot of people really underestimate the power of studying in advance. And can we be real? A lot of times we put off studying because we're nervous about the exam in the first place. That's what I did for my teacher certification exam. I kept putting it off because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna, like, basically I was just nervous about passing. So I put it off. But there is so much power when you study in advance because you go into that test confident. Okay. So the fix is to create a structured study schedule, which is something I also teach students 6 to 12 weeks in advance. Number two, not understanding the exam format. Okay. So why is this a problem? Because surprises on exam day waste time and cause panic. So when we say exam format, I want to break that down. Format meaning you understand how the questions are going to be structured, okay? Is it multiple choice? Is it essay? And not only that, let's go deeper, okay? Because a lot of times we know if it's going to be essay or multiple choice or both. But even more than that, have you seen example questions? Do you know how the questions are worded? Because sometimes it's multiple choice, but it's multiple choice like true or false. Or it's multiple choice and the questions are worded in like a kind of rhetorical question manner. Or sometimes the questions don't give a lot of context, right? And the only way you'll know the answer is if you study, right? So you need to understand the format. And you can do that from really doing research, like whatever your exam name is, like let's say the MCAT, right? Or the CompTIA. I helped a student in the past preparing for the CompTIA exam. Those questions are, that's a tech exam, by the way. Those questions are structured in a very technical way, which it should be. It's a technical exam for a tech job. But knowing in advance how the questions are going to be structured will give you like so many bonus points and so much more confidence, right? So not understanding the exam format is a problem. And the fix is practice with official exam guides and timed mock tests. Because can I be real, y'all? When I was practicing for my exam, for the teacher certification exam, I didn't really do the practice tests. I was just looking over the questions. But once I failed a few times, I said, okay, I need to do an actual practice test, like from beginning to end. Let me just say this. Let me go ahead and put it out there. If you are serious about leveling up, you have to go all the way. All the way. You have to develop a study strategy, a study plan. You have to actually do practice tests from beginning to end. It's not enough just to review the questions. Like, especially if your career depends on it, y'all. Like, we have to take this seriously. And you take it seriously by developing a plan, like legitimately taking practice exams from beginning to the end, just like you're in a real exam setting, and checking your score, checking your answers. Okay, let's move on. So that was number 2. Now understanding the exam format. Number 3, passive studying, only reading notes. I already said this. I'm not going to even stay on this one long. I've said this a million times. Reading is not a study, is not studying. But why is it a problem? Because low engagement equals low memory retention. How many of you all have read something before and started daydreaming? I know I have plenty of times. So, and sometimes it's something I'm interested in reading and I still start daydreaming. So imagine if it's exam content, you're really going to start drifting off and daydreaming. Like, it's it's natural. It's normal to daydream, to drift off sometimes. And people try to say, oh, you got ADD. No, I'm human and I got other stuff on my mind. That's why reading is not an effective study strategy, because you might drift off to daydreaming, or you might just get interrupted, right? It's low engagement. So the fix is use active recall, flashcards, and practice questions. Now, this is just the start, because what I teach students when you work with me one-on-one is much more than flashcards. But that's a good start. Practice with flashcards and practice questions, okay? So now, I'm going to go down some. Can you all see my screen still? I hope so. Okay. So now, number 4, ignoring weak areas. Again, if you have the e-guide from helpmepass.org, all of this is in the e-guide, okay? Ignoring weak areas, okay? Why is it a problem? Because focusing on what's comfortable can lead to gaps in knowledge. I see people do this because I used to do this. The areas that you're weak in, we want to practice the least, when it should be the complete opposite. The areas you're weak in should be the areas that you practice the most. But again, that I word, intimidation, you get intimidated and you don't want to study it, right? So you put it on the back burner. I'll study that later. No, the areas that you are weak in, you need to face it head on. Look it dead in the eye with your paper and say, you know what? I don't know this, but I'm going to know this. And you develop a plan to make sure that you learn it. And can I be real? Even though I am an exam preparation coach, don't sleep on things like YouTube. Watch videos. I believe in switching up your strategy. I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping ahead. I was going to talk about that later, but it's okay to switch up your strategy. You don't have to just rely on paper. You can switch it up to videos. You can do some reading, but that is not your only strategy, nor your main strategy you should use. You can do some flashcards. Like, you can switch up your strategies. But the fix is to prioritize the weak areas, okay? The weak topics early and revisit them multiple times, okay? Like, if you're getting ready to take a math exam, is anyone in here put an S in the chat if you're getting ready to prepare for a STEM exam? STEM is science, technology, engineering, or math. Anyone put an S in the chat if you're getting ready to prepare for a STEM exam? Y'all with me over here too? Anybody getting ready to prepare for a STEM exam? If you're getting ready to prepare for a STEM exam, which have a lot of intimidating questions on there, you need to definitely be practicing those questions several times, okay? Because the thing with STEM is that it can be tricky. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but STEM can be tricky. And what do I mean by tricky? Let me be more specific, okay? When I say tricky, it's like the examples that you might practice could be totally different from the real test questions. I'm just being honest, y'all. Now, it will be the same concepts, right? The same type of material, but the practice test might have an easier version of that question. And then when you get on the real exam, it's a harder version of that same concept, right? And that's why it's important to practice over and over and over and over and over, okay? So revisit it multiple times the areas that you're weak in. Don't give up or say, oh, I'm going to do this later. Don't do that, all right? So that was number 4, ignoring weak areas. Number 5, lack of practice under exam conditions, right? So why it's a problem? Because people have testing anxiety and time management issues, right? And what do I mean by lack of practice under exam conditions? Meaning, I kind of said this one earlier. One of the reasons why students fail exams is because they don't take a full practice test from beginning to end, right? That might seem like, oh, I don't need to do that. That's pointless or that's elementary. But no, you need to take. Here's why. Because if you haven't prepared yourself for the real exam environment, like the real environment, what it's going to feel like sitting there for an hour with your pen, or if it's on a computer, if you haven't practiced like doing the whole thing from beginning to end at least once, when it's time for you to take that exam, you might be overwhelmed. I hope you're not. But taking a test is not just answering the questions, it's also being able to sit still for that long amount of time. So a lack of practice exam can cause anxiety because you have never put yourself in that predicament, which is taking that long exam, however long it is. Most exams are like an hour. If you haven't put yourself in that predicament to take that long exam, like ever at all, it might be difficult when it's time. Okay, I'm going to keep going. All right, so next one. Number 6, overestimating prior knowledge. All right. Some of y'all feel like, oh, I know this. I've been working in this industry a long time, or I know about this. So you don't prioritize studying effectively and intentionally because you feel like, oh, I know this, especially if it's a professional exam, right? You feel like, oh, I got this in the bag. I've done this before. Oh, I know this. No, but your professional experience does not equate to your readiness, right? Because it's just like some people are in the nursing field and they might want to go back and take another exam so they can get another certification. And they feel like, oh, I know this. I've been in nursing for 10 years. Okay, but you can't assume just because you've been in nursing that you're going to do well on this exam, okay? So the fix for this is to treat the exam as new learning, right? Follow a proven prep plan, all right? And actually, y'all, if you with me, put a 4 in the chat if you with me, because I'm for you. Put a 4 in the chat if you with me. Put a 4 in the chat. I was going to put something on my screen, but I'm not going to do it. Let me go down, though. Let me go down to the next one, okay? So, number 7. All right, let me scroll up. Y'all with me? Put a 4 in the chat if you with me. All right, number 7 is time management. Okay, I'm trying to make sure it's in the screen. Poor time management. Okay, y'all with me? 4. Thank you. Poor time management while studying. Why it's a problem? We already talked about this. Last minute cramming and incomplete coverage. Okay, y'all, I know we are busy as adults, but you have to make time. And you have to think about it, okay? I'm a big visionary. I love to envision things in my mind before it even happens, right? I pray about it and I envision it, right? When you think about where you're going to be after you pass this exam, that should be the reason why you prioritize time to study. I know we get tired, we get sleepy. And can I be real with y'all? Those are the times where you need to watch the YouTube videos. Now, I'm not saying YouTube is a study strategy. Hear what I'm saying. I'm saying those times where you don't feel like studying, you are just drained. You are tired. You had the longest day ever. Those are the times where you want get put on a YouTube video on that concept, right? Now, again, that's not your study strategy. Don't say Veronica, the exam prep coach, told us to use YouTube to pass exams. I didn't say that. My point is every day, every single day, you need to be doing a little bit of studying. And if there is one day where you are just so tired, then you're still learning something, but you're doing it through a video because maybe you're too tired to sit down with your pen and paper like I teach students to do. So, but this says here, another fix is you can use a calendar-based study plan, breaking material into daily chunks, which is another concept I teach. And again, I'm a certified teacher, and chunking is an actual real concept that we use in the classroom, right? Instead of just, if we're talking about algebra, we don't talk about the Pythagorean theory and adding like terms and all of that in the same day. We break it up in chunks. And that's the same thing that you need to do. And again, this is what I teach students. There is a strategy and a method for breaking down your information into more simpler pieces, right? So that you can learn all of it, especially if you are preparing for a complex or a technical exam. If you are preparing for a technical exam, even if it's not STEM, right? Even if it's not science, technology, engineering, or math, there are still some tests that are very, very complex. I talked to a student the other day. She's preparing for a social work exam, right? I can only imagine that's a lot of information. Social work is a broad topic. So you need to be able to break it down in chunks, okay? Number 8, we don't like to talk about this, but not managing your testing anxiety, right? Why it's a problem is because anxiety reduces focus and recall. So if you don't create a plan to manage your anxiety, okay, can we be vulnerable? How many of us in here deal with anxiety? Put an A in the chat. I'm gonna be the first one. If you deal with anxiety, put an A in the chat. Put an A in the chat if you deal with testing anxiety. Put an A. Who's willing to be vulnerable and be real? Put an A in the chat if you deal with testing anxiety. Look, the thing about anxiety is if you have tests, okay, Pookie, yes, me too, girl. If you deal with testing anxiety, King, you do too, right? You have to face it head on, right? And that can look like a lot of different things. That can look like, the fix can look like practicing breathing techniques, time practice. Here goes that again, meaning taking an actual practice exam from beginning to end. Because remember, you have not been in that testing environment yet. You have to practice with yourself in your alone time what that would look like taking an exam from beginning all the way to the end. Because I'm telling y'all, just the sitting for a whole hour can give you an anxiety. Give you anxiety, right? Just sitting there for a whole hour can give you an anxiety. You can't get up. You can't do nothing but sit there and take your test. So you need to put yourself in that environment before it's time. And that's why I say take practice exams. And then test day rituals. That may look like the day of your exam, you wake up a few hours earlier, you might go work out. We don't talk about these things, but these are real things that you can do to help you relax. Go work out if you work out. Maybe wake up that day, go to the pool, right? Like, you don't want to be late for your exam, so wake up early. Go to the pool, or maybe just sit outside or journal. Do something that you would do on a normal day, the day of your exam, to decrease your anxiety, right? Like, because that's something I wish I had done. And when I sat down and created this e-guide, I really thought about, I tried to get in the mind of a test taker because I thought about how I felt. I felt like everything had to stop. I literally would cancel everything the day of my exam. Like, no, you don't have to do that. Just wake up earlier, all right? And it helps decrease your anxiety, okay? So you have to manage your testing anxiety. Don't avoid it, all right? Number 9, over-reliance on one study source. Here we go. Why this is a problem, why it's a problem It limits understanding and perspective. If you are only reading, if you are only looking at flashcards, if you are only watching YouTube videos, your chances of passing is very slim. And why? Because the information that you're studying is, for most of us, it's a lot of information. So a lot of information calls for a lot of different study strategies, depending on the concept and the content that you're studying for. This doesn't apply to everyone, right? But for most of us. So the fix for that is you can combine textbooks, online courses, practice exams, study groups, working with Help Me Pass. You want to switch it up. You want to have variety. That's a better way of saying it. You want to have variety in your study strategy, not just studying one way, because that's also going to decrease your engagement, right? If you're only looking at flashcards, you're going to get tired of that. And you know what you're going to eventually do? You're going to stop studying. I'm just being honest, y'all. And number 10, lack of a proven study strategy. Keyword is proven. Why it's a problem? Because random study habits lead to inefficiency. Now, I know this one sounds like the previous one, but it's not the same. Let me tell you why. Because number 9 says over-reliance on one study source. This one says, number 10, lack of a proven study strategy, meaning you're just trying things to see what sticks, right? Like, let me see if the flashcards work. Let me see if the highlighting works. Let me see if the rewriting what I see in my textbook works. I know some people do that. They will rewrite like the notes or what they see in the textbook. And so for some people that works, but you don't know if it works. You're just, what they say, throwing spaghetti at the wall to try to see what sticks. The fix to that is to use a structured framework like the method that Help Me Pass teaches. You all, I'm so serious about this. When I failed my teacher certification exam, the social studies part of that exam, the second time, I was devastated. I said, I have to do something different. Because when I failed the social studies part of the teacher certification exam twice, I was in my last semester at Howard University. And Howard University, they have very high standards. They said you cannot graduate from your Master of Education program unless you pass all parts of your teacher certification exam first. And the reason why they do that is because they want to be able to say that they graduated certified teachers. Because anyone can, not anyone. It's one thing to graduate. It's another thing to graduate certified and licensed, right? So they were not going to let me graduate unless I passed that exam, all parts. And so after I failed the second time, I said, I have to do something different. So I stopped reading, you all. And honestly, I stopped using the same book because I kept using the same book to study for that social studies part. I stopped using the book. I found a new resource online and I changed up my strategy. And this is what I want to teach you all. I want to invite you all. Well, first of all, I want to ask, do I have your permission to invite you? If I have your permission, put a yes in the chat. Because I really want to invite you to something that I know will really, really help. If I have your permission, put yes in the chat. Because I don't want to just invite you and you don't even want to be invited. Right? And the reason why I say that, okay, I am TR 2020. Thank you for permission. Thank you, Pookie. I want to invite you all to work with me one-on-one. I see you, Sharon. I want to invite you all to work with me one-on-one. And can I be real with you all? This is not just about me making money. I am telling you the strategy that I teach students. See, this was just the preparation, you all, right? This was just the preparation. But what I teach students when I work with them one-on-one is much more intricate than this. And it's exactly the method that I used when I passed my social studies part of my teacher certification exam on the 3rd attempt. I switched up my entire strategy, y'all. Like, I didn't even read anymore. Like, of course, you have to do some reading, but just reading for hours and highlight, I stopped that. Flashcards, I stopped that. I had to switch up my whole strategy. And because I switched up my strategy, you all, I passed my exam, and now I am certified in 2 states to teach, in Texas as well as in Washington, D.C., which we know is not technically a state. Look, I'm being a teacher for real now because I'm being technical. But I'm certified in 2 different places because I switched up my strategy. And I can only imagine if I would have failed that test for the 3rd time, y'all, I may have given up. Probably not, but probably so. I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know. We will never know because I passed. Thank God. So I want to invite you to work with me one-on-one. You can either book a 1-hour exam preparation coaching session with me or a 2-hour coaching session. And you can do that by visiting helpmepass.org. The link is also in my bio. When you visit helpmepass.org, it'll lead you to a page to book a one-on-one with me. Or like I said, if you just click the link in my bio, you'll see there's 2 different options. You can do a 1-hour coaching session. It's called Help Me Pass Exam Preparation Coaching Session. You can do a 1 hour. If you do a 1 hour, that's $125, right? If you do a 2 hour, it's $200, okay? Now, I know times are hard. They are. Trust me, I know. They are hard. But if your career and your elevation depends on you passing this exam, I want you to lock in with me. I want you to lock in with me if your career depends on this. And I'm going to show you exactly where you go. You click this link. When you click this link, you all, it's going to take you to a page. I'm trying to get there. It's going to take you to a page. Here it is. When you click the link. Oh, wait. Wrong page, y'all. All right. I'm about to show y'all. When you click the link, because I want y'all to see what it looks like. When you click the link on the e-guide, that's what I click. I click that green area on the e-guide. It takes you to the 1-hour coaching session. But that is not the only option that you have, okay? And you pick a time that is best for you, right? Any date, any time, okay? This is a basic coaching session. Now, I know you're wondering, what's the difference between the 1 hour and the 2 hour? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to show you the 2-hour coaching session. If you do a 2-hour coaching session, the difference is we go over 2 different things in the 2-hour coaching session because we have more time. So in the 1-hour coaching session, I go over my proprietary exam preparation strategy and framework. In the 2-hour session, I go over, or not just go over, let me be clear with my language. I teach you, in the 2-hour session, I teach you my exam preparation framework. Plus, we discuss and you learn what I call multiple choice question discernment. Who has ever heard of that? You shouldn't have heard of it because it's my trademark. Okay? Multiple choice question discernment. That means I teach you how to select the correct answer based on the multiple choice question and how it is formatted. Because let's be honest, you can study day and night for an exam and still fail if you don't understand the question. And a lot of these multiple choice questions, they're worded in a way to, I don't want to say trick you, but to test if you've really studied. Which, let's be honest, if you're prepared to be a nurse, a doctor, or work in a field where you're dealing with people's lives, you do need to be tested in a way to determine if you're really prepared, right? Because I don't want a doctor who didn't really study for his M.Ed exam. Do you? Do you want a doctor who didn't really do his due diligence in school? I don't. So these tests are formatted in a way they are really trying to see if you know what you're talking about. So the questions can be very tricky, and the way that they are structured can be tricky. So in a 2-hour session, not only do you learn my proprietary exam preparation strategy and framework, but we also discuss and you learn multiple choice question discernment. So there is like I want to say it's like a 10-page research document that is based on real research that teaches you exactly how to understand each type of multiple choice question. Now, this is on research that I've conducted and I've put together, right? And so I want to share that with you, but that is only in a 2-hour session. Now, some of you might feel like I don't need a 2-hour session. Just teach me how to study. Teach me the study strategy framework. And if that is the case, then you might just need a 1-hour session. And if you just feel like you need a 1-hour session, that's totally fine. But I just want you to know that you have options, okay? So let me know, do you think that the 1-hour session or the 2-hour session is best for you? Because the 1-hour session, like I mentioned, that's $125. The 2-hour session is $200. And let me ask this. I didn't ask this question, y'all. Forgive me. Who was preparing to take an exam within the next 6 months? Put me in the chat if you're preparing to take an exam within the next 6 months. Y'all let me know. Who's preparing to take an exam in the next 6 months? Put me in the chat. M.E. Because I want to know who is for real about leveling up. Because again, this is not just about a test. This is about your life changing based on you passing the exam, making more money in your career, especially if it's a certification or a licensing exam. Okay, I am TR 2020. Okay, in the next 6 months, you're taking an exam, you need to lock in with me. Brazil Sharon, you need to lock in with me. Like I said, the 1 hour may be all that you need. But I want to be transparent, y'all. The 2-hour option, you learn a whole lot more. Not only do you learn a whole lot more, it's going to significantly increase your confidence when it's time to take the exam. Because you're not only going to learn how to study, you're also going to learn how not to be intimidated by those multiple choice questions. So if you want to lock in with me, I'm going to give you all a code, okay? 10% off. The code is, it's a coupon code. You just put it in on the website when it's time for you to register for your one-on-one coaching session. Y'all ready? It's level up. I'm going to put it in the chat with all capital letters. Level up, no spaces. It's 10% off. Because like I said, look, you all, I'm a real person. I know times are hard, but sometimes we have to make sacrifices so we can really get to where we want to go. Because let me tell you what costs more, paying for that exam several times. When I failed the social studies part, I had to pay each time I failed. Each time I failed and I had to re-register for the exam, I had to pay again. Every time you fail that exam, you got to pay again. And those exams are not cheap. So what would you rather? Would you rather keep paying for the exam because you keep failing? Or would you rather go ahead and pay that exam, pay for that exam one last time, or one more time, or one time if it's your first time, and not have to pay again? Because I think my exam was at least $100. I know that for sure. It was one something. I can't remember. I feel like it was like $140, the teacher certification exam. I can't remember, but it was expensive. And all 3 times I took the exam, I had to pay. Thank God I passed on the 3rd time. So would you rather to keep failing or fail your first time? Or would you rather just go ahead and pay for this service, the exam preparation, pass your first time, and go into the exam confident and move on with your life and level up? So that's the code, level up. Any questions? I know I did a lot of talking. Any questions? Please put them in the chat now. Put any questions. Let me look on my other phone. Any questions? Any questions? Hi, RC Blakes. RC Blakes joined. Hi. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? I want to help you all level up this year. I want to help you level up. Any questions? Any questions? Please let me know if you have questions. This is the time, y'all. Any questions about anything? I'm telling you all, once you level up and pass that exam, it will be a weight off your back. It will be a weight off your back. Like, oh, I passed the exam. Yes, I'm done. I don't have to deal with this no more. It will be a weight off of your back once you pass this exam. Okay, if we don't have any questions, I'm going to end the live. Thank you all so much for your time. Look, if you do have questions, if you think of a question later on, you can either DM me, right? Send me a direct message, or you can email info@helpmepass.org, or you can text. The number is in my bio. You can text help to 346-800-7604. That is our business line. If you think of questions or concerns, reach out. You don't have to be on this journey alone, okay? So I love y'all. I hope this helped. Did this help? Let me know that before you leave out. Did this help? Let me know if this helped. Look, like I said, in order to learn more, I can't teach everything right here. But in order to learn more, to learn the strategy, we need to work together one-on-one to really learn how to prepare to take the exam. We need to work together one-on-one. Did this help anyone? Let me know if this was helpful. Y'all quiet tonight. Why y'all quiet? I hope this helps someone. I really, really do. All right. Well, if nothing else, I hope y'all have a great evening. Much love to you. And remember, if you can do it at home, don't do it alone. See y'all later. Bye.